good morning, good morning, good morning. Y'all can see me? I'm still setting up a little bit. Got this book right here. Go down there. Do I? No, I got a pen up here. Oh, that's why I was trying to make sure. Do I got a pen? Put this up. Yes, we are live. So I flipped it. Yep. And let's do our disclaimer. We got some stories, man. We got some stories. Some information. It's gonna be a smooth Monday for the first time. When I say smooth, like it was a lot going on over the weekend. It was a lot going on. Make sure y'all can hear me. It was a lot. Computer going smooth. We should be in for a treat. Okay. Disclaimer. The videos presented here are for informational purposes only, and therefore if you are to choose to attend the institution, please do your own research and consult with a specialist at that institution you're interested in. I am not a financial aid specialist, academic advisor, or representing any institution. Speaking on behalf of Creator, Henry is only speaking from his experience. Let's rock out. And keep setting up a little bit. I hope y'all enjoyed y'all weekend. How was y'all weekend? Was y'all weekend good? Y'all enjoyed it? Let me know how y'all weekend were, man. How it was. I said were. How it was. Very normal, right? Very normal. Very normal weekend. Let's enter this control room. Keep setting up. Alright. Okay, so let's get it. First thing first. The One Big Beautiful Bill Act is coming fast in higher education. Yes, it's coming very fast. This is why I use pencils. It's coming very. This is a pencil. This is not a pen. That was a pencil. I'm a pen. Got a number of pencils up here. Just completely. Ooh, hold on. There's a pen right here. So the One Big Beautiful Bill Act is coming fast. So I didn't read it last night because I want to be surprised as you all. Sometimes I wait to read stuff until I get on the live screen. So the U.S. Department of Education announces immediate implementation of higher education. I feel like I'm too close. Ooh. U.S. Department of Education announces immediate implementation of higher education provisions in the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. So, the U.S. Department of Education today released a Dear Colleague letter outlining the immediate implementation of numerous higher education provisions in the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. This comes 2 weeks after President Trump signed the OBB into law. As we know, we had reacted to that. It took him like an hour to sign it, and we thought he was just gonna sign it. Like we thought it was gonna take him about 15 to 30 minutes to sign it, but it took an hour. Like people literally was on the front line of the White House just staring. And then, so this is quoting, who is this? Under Secretary James Burgeon. It says, quote him, President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill is a historic win for students, families, and taxpayers. Before I even start reading that, I'm going to copy as much as I can to the first period so y'all can see it yourselves. I think this is, it's probably going to be too much. So I'm going to stop it. Let's do right there. Stop right there first. This is a quote as I'm putting it in here. And of course, that was too much. perfect. Think about that part. Then I hope that's not too much again. I'll be surprised. Wow. They really don't let you type that much in the comment section. I used to wonder why people didn't type that much. Hold on. Boom. Colleges. Colleges. Because this is probably good news. I'm looking at it a little bit as I copy and paste, guys. I think this is good news for us. All right. So let me go back. And I put the rest of that in there. So it says right here, President Trump's One Beautiful Bill is a historic win for students, families, and taxpayers. The OBB delivers for student borrowers in a big way, simplifying the student loan repayment system, funding the $10.5 billion shortfall in Pell Grant funding left by the previous administration, funding the $10.5 billion shortfall in Pell Grant funding left by the previous administration, supporting short-term career-focused programs that train workers for in-demand jobs. And then they say right here, and holding colleges accountable by eliminating student loan eligibility for programs that leave students worse off than if they had never enrolled. So what does that mean again? That means they are not going to let you take out student loans in a program that is failing. That's what that means. So if you go to a college, I don't know how detailed they're going to break it down yet, of course, because they say they're implementing it fast. But for sure, if that program is not giving you a return, if that program is not going to give you a good ROI on your money, they're not going to let you get loans in that program. So as I like to use this example, because everybody, it's art. If you are an art major and you're not getting returns on investment, you and other art majors, when y'all report y'all earnings, your returns, if y'all saying y'all not making that much, blah, 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 guess what? You're not going to be eligible to take out a federal loan from the U.S. Department of Education. And that's big. It seems like it's not important, but it's really important because colleges have a lot of programs that don't really help you. They don't really, it's just there. Like like athletes. I always use athletes because I was an athlete. It's like an athlete going to a school. They don't know much. They're just going to play sports and they're picking a major they think is going to be rewarding if they don't work out in sports, when in reality, this major, at least at this institution, is not panning out to get a great return on investment for them. So, just a prime example. And athletes probably wouldn't need, a federal loan, but some of them do, because that's going to be our next topic, which is, it's a lot going on. So they said today's announcement, well, it's not today, this was reported on July 18th. Today's announcement is the first step in the implementation process, and we look forward to building the president's vision for education and training beyond high school, right? And then some other stuff. They're talking about the repayment plans, like you should enroll in the repayment plans. If you haven't, you need to get out of the Biden Save plan, as we talked about. And then right here, they're saying right here, other key provisions such as building the new repayment assistance plan and the new workforce Pell Grant program will become effective next year. The repayment assistance plan and the new workforce Pell Grant program, they will be effective next year. Well, other changes phased in phased in over the next few years. The department will issue further guidance and regulations at a future date. I thought that was important. Anything posted about Department of Education usually should be important. Usually should be important. And they're saying they're going to implement it fast as soon as next year, which is fall 2026 in college. For the most part, in college that I'm aware of. And so that was really it. I didn't see really much on X. I didn't see Linda make no post following up with it. I didn't see nothing on LinkedIn. But you know what I did see on LinkedIn? I seen Mr. President. I seen Trump sign this, or supposed to be signing this executive order for this NIL. So this is going to be interesting. When this got posted? 23 hours ago. That's nothing really. Yeah. Okay. So let's check that. Always doing stuff. As I'm pulling stuff up, that's the best part of this day. Perfect. All right, let's go to this one. So the article I found on the President Trump will reportedly sign an executive order to limit NIL money for players. Now, y'all already know how I feel about the NIL. Now, when the feds get in place and say they finna add some structure or something, you had a good run. Just know you had a good run while it lasted. Just know you did. And so, let's get into this article. Honestly, I was surprised that it wasn't on the Department of Education. Personally, I was surprised. It wasn't on the NCAA website either, which is surprising again, because this is their area, right? It's about higher education, it's about college. I got notifications from Bloomberg. I seen Wall Street Journal on LinkedIn, and I seen this one guy posted. I believe his name is Thomas Anderson, I think his name is Thomas Anderson. Let me see. Because he follows NIL hard. Like, really, he posts everything as soon as it happens. As I pull it up for us right quick. I think his name is Thomas. I could be wrong. His name is Thomas Anderson. Yes, I was right. And so he did a post on it. But I like to go to the actual source, like a credible source. I'm not saying he's not credible, but usually I find his stuff. He has a website, but usually I go to LinkedIn and get his information. But I'm on Yahoo Sports right now. So right here it says the name, image, and likeness revolution has reshaped collegiate athletics. Players have more agency than even to earn their market value, make some of the money they generate for sports programs, and ensure their future even in the event of a catastrophic. Why do you use such that word? Going to flow in the sentence, they expose me a little bit. But pretty much if they have a big injury or a failure to be selected in a pro league draft, they have a chance to make NIL money. So the thing about it though, okay, anybody can know sports, right? Everybody should know sports. Everybody understands NIL, right? Everybody's like, oh, I understand NIL. They make money for the colleges. The college is not paying them. When really it's more like, from what I've been seeing, it's more players who are known. If you are like an unknown player or you do something that's really like popular, go viral on social media from what it seems, you're going to get a endorsement deal essentially from a business, a college, business, or private something, right? If you do something. And so I did not turn on my phone. Hold on. Okay, that should help us a little bit. And so, but everything that has been going on allegedly, because remember I told you Trump went to the University of Alabama. At one of our beginning live streams, it was like Trump went and spoke at the University of Alabama, but the whole ordeal was about him speaking at the University of Alabama was Nick Saban told him they need to get a grip on NIL, because Nick Saban, which is part of a big reason why like Nick Saban, Coach K, some other popular coaches have retired because they don't support the NIL movement. They don't think players, it's kind of traditional. They don't support players being paid, college players being paid while they're in college. And I think how can you phrase that? I think it's a little, from my perspective, I don't see anything wrong with the college players getting paid, especially if they're generating the revenue that the industry is making. Like trying to have some sense with it. And so if we keep going, they said that could potentially, so going back to the article, they said that this could potentially change in the near future, courtesy of an executive order filed by President Trump. Front Office Sports reported on Wednesday that Trump is actively working on the NIL order, which is expected to either establish NCAA-friendly rules to limit the earning potential of players. So they're already trying to put a cap on how much you can make as an NIL player, because colleges are struggling. Remember what I said earlier, like last week? I know I said it a few times last week. You have people who work in higher education, who work in the athletic section or athletic department, right? Depending on how they phrase it. They are getting laid off because they're trying to pay. The college is trying to pay players to come, but players are most likely going to go to bigger market places that can pay them more. So colleges that are known for good programs, essentially like powerhouses programs, wherever sport it is, they're losing players on money, not because of education. I don't really think, if you ask me, I don't think schools too much care about the student's education. It's up to the student and family to care about the education. The school wants you for what they want you for, which is your talent, which is your sport, whatever you're bringing to the school. That's what they care about. But what I'm getting at is that like they're losing players to bigger market schools. Like if you're a school in Portland, for example, you're not going to get no big time athlete. It's just like NBA, NFL. You're not going to get no big time athlete, and you're based in Portland. You're going to lose out to places like Texas, Georgia, in some cases, Florida. And then you factor in the tax advantages in certain states. It's a little. I would say it's a little out of hand. I do think players should get paid though. And so they say Trump is working on an executive order. So this is essentially, you're going to have the feds, executive level / feds getting into your business. Like if you took advantage of the opportunity when you could, that's good. But now it's about to get a little harder and more structured. At least for now. Like I said, I hope NIL can last. At the rate it's going, I don't see it lasting in the future. I could be completely wrong on that, but I don't really see it lasting if they don't put a grip on it, for sure. So he's working on a NIL executive order. The end goal in this case will be to support power conference schools. Okay. So the end goal in this case would be to support power conference schools in their lobbying goals to limit high-profile players from joining smaller programs due to money. Wow. They said, this is Yahoo now. They said the end goal in this case will be to support power conference schools. Support power conference schools in their lobbying goals to limit high-profile players from joining smaller programs due to money. Why they don't want players going to smaller programs due to money? It's a thought, right? Just a thought. Why you don't want smaller players going? I mean, smaller programs getting these high-profile players. I really would like to know that. So, in addition, legislation would likely put an earning cap on how much players can make through NIL, as well as codify athletes as non-codify athletes as non-employees. Something player groups have been pushing for in several states. I remember talking about this back in 2021, a little bit 2022. I wasn't following it hard, but they had made some moves toward this. Let's keep going. This, oh wow, it's funny because they said it was a 2020 case settled last year for 2.7. That's crazy. So this comes following the ruling of House versus NCAA. We talked about that. The 2.75 billion, which gives schools it gives schools 20 million ish to work with. Let's check. I see people coming in and out. Let me make sure. Okay. Nose sweating a little bit. Where is it? All right. And so Congress has been working on this own bill to curb NIL spending, with negotiations ongoing about a proposed cap on NIL payments from schools. Okay. It's unclear about what the amount would be, but it's accepted it would be substantially less than what programs are currently spending. So they're pretty much trying to put you up. Here come his name in this article, as I just talked about, Nick Saban. So if players, because the most I've seen players making is millions of dollars, but I guess players are like, look, if you don't pay me $1 million or 500,000, 800,000, then like I said, I'm not coming. It's really like that simple, but these colleges are spending a lot of money. But I don't think colleges are spending that much money because only one player is getting like $1 million. Like I said, they're getting 20 million to work with. But they'll pay one big player like $1 million, which is crazy because then, you know, when they rotate new players, like these players, like especially in basketball, these players are leaving after 1 year most of the time. So, but I guess they would stay for longer and they have to keep paying them $1 million 1 year, then the next year another $1 million, then another $1 million if they decide to be a 4-year player instead of 1 year. And then they bring in some new recruits. I guess I can see it getting a little expensive, but like I said, it's all jumbled up. And this is not really our area, but it's a hot topic when you got President Trump stepping in because Nick Saban asked them, which is this paragraph is about to be about Nick Saban. So let's see what it's talking about. So it comes in the wake of notable collegiate sports figures like Nick Saban decrying the explosion of NIL-based payments and speaking to the president about his concerns. It should be noted that while Alabama, Saban's former team, remains a powerhouse in college football, their NIL kitty is substantially lower than a wide array of schools, ranking 12th in future NIL investment, behind the likes of Auburn, LSU, Texas, and Georgia, among others. So right here it says, behind legislation appears from the outside like sour grapes. Traditional powerhouses are losing their recruiting edge. Of course, that's what it's about. Bigger schools are complaining because they don't really have the money like some of these small schools who have a lot of money in most cases to just go snag your players and build a program off of money. Because like we said, you got to think a lot of schools who actually produce billionaires, like the ultra-rich billionaires, are literally recruiting students too. They're pouring like, it's nothing to a billionaire to dump, 10 million to get a top recruit. That's nothing for that ultra billionaire who's going to get a lifetime of benefits from the college on the other end. Like, it's all business, right? This is how they're doing it. So traditional powerhouses are losing their recruiting edge by not being able to keep up with NIL spending, lessening the amount of high profile 4- and 5-star recruits coming to campus. This will fundamentally represent a power shift in football from a talent perspective. Not just football, but all sports. With ACC schools like Virginia, Florida, Clemson, Louisville, and North Carolina having much larger NIL commitments than numerous power conference, because like I said, you gotta think Florida has like a tax advantage. I believe like no state taxes, and you have like Florida is one of them, Texas is one of them, places like that. So players are like, oh, no state taxes, I'll go play there and da da da. And so, but people going to Clemson, Louisville is crazy, just for money. But they said right here, it's unclear at this time what a Trump executive order would look like. Though it's widely accepted, it will be fundamentally worse for players. Once again, it will be fundamentally worse for players and better for institutions when it comes to a revenue share. Nothing says free marketplace quite like governmental intervention. Who wrote this? Oh, wow. Don't get me, Trump, but whoever said this, James Dator, Dator. So that's the whole ordeal about it, guys. When the government intervenes, when they get involved, you're you about to get less money. So to all the players out there, NIL, if you're about to make some money, or supposed to, it's about to get cut real short. So as Marshawn Lynch said, for my athletes out there, save your chickens. Save your chickens. Because like institutions are like, man, we ain't finna pay these players. Players ain't finna get paid that much. But then it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. Like I say, football, they gonna be stuck in a limbo because football is not really other places you can go and have you can skip college and go play somewhere else. There's not many places you could do that. So, but for basketball, because I know basketball pretty good, I would say basketball, they can go to other places and skip college. It's just gonna build that back up. So I think they should really consider it and think about it before they shrink the money of these players. Because a lot of these players, now don't get me wrong, a lot of these players are prep kids. They do come from a lot of better backgrounds than they used to be back in the days. But what I will say is that for the players who probably don't have much and they are about to make a leap and make money for the first time that can help their family by playing a sport they've been playing since they were little, I do think they should be mindful of this executive order coming to higher education, because the college at the end of the day, they got to do what's best for their business. So I feel like that was important, especially if you are there. And of course, it always relates back to you as a student or parent, because they're going to make you pay more. You're going to have to pay more. Because if they shrink their revenue sharing, most people not reading this. So they still can raise your tuition and fees. They still can raise your tuition and fees, I said tuition and fees. But they can raise that. They can raise anything else, meal plans or whatever. Like anything else can be so called for whatever. But you could be really contributing to like more money to the school, but they can say, oh, this is going to this is going to the players who need to get paid, or but most people are not keeping up with it. And Trump plans on doing an executive order to limit NIL money for players. So we'll see what that looks like. Hopefully people who are specializing in that area can keep us updated on that, because that's going to be very interesting. Very interesting. So let's do some sub conversations real quick before we get into our last one. I bet y'all like, dang, already? Like, yeah, it was hitters, but a little short. A little out of our areas, but a little short. So first and foremost, where is it? So some budgets are being, as you know, shrinked at some schools that you want to go to. So we talked about this is more of our area. Leaders of St. Augustine's University, which is a HBCU formerly. It's like I believe it's a Christian private school, guys. Let me look it up again real quick. But remember me talking about this school maybe like 2 live streams ago. I don't know if anybody remembers that. As I look it up, I know it's in, North Carolina. St. Augustine's University is a private. Oh, why they updated it on Google? They said St. Augustine's University is a private, unaccredited historical Black Christian college. They updated it on the website. Wow. Interesting. So guys, I talked about this school like 2 live streams ago, and it's continuously getting updated on where I get my sources from. So it's good that they're following this story. I feel like they're listening to me a little bit. So they asked their alumni to help them raise $1 million. This is why we got to keep this in mind with schools being unaccredited. I don't care if it's a PWI or HBCU. It's your money, guys. It can hurt you a lot. It can put you back at the beginning of life. Literally, it's going to put you back at the beginning of life, but you don't get time back when that happens, right? And what I mean is, like, you can go to a school that is accredited at one point. Like, this school was accredited in 2023, right? Everything was so-called good. You know, if you're a normal student, everything looks good. But when a school loses accreditation, I'm always thinking about the students who are there right now. Like, these students could be in their sophomore or junior year, right? And this school, let's say you started school in 2021. You started college here. In 2023, you're like a junior. So I had to actually go. Let's just say you started in 2024. Let's say that you're a freshman in 2024. And then you get to your sophomore year, which is 2025, right? But you don't know that the school is about to lose their accreditation because you're just a student going to class. Everything is fast-paced. The school technically has not told, I'm pretty sure the school has not mentioned. I don't know. I'm not there. I don't have emails by them. I'm highly sure the school has not told the students that they lost their accreditation. How do I know and feel that way? Because the school said they're suing their accreditor, for first and foremost, which is supposed to allow them more time to hold their accreditation, right? So students who could be like in their freshman, sophomore year, like if you in your sophomore year and they just lost their accreditation and you say, oh, I'm about to leave, you can leave, but that school is no longer accredited, which means like if you go to if you try to go to another Christian school, if you try to go to a public school, right, which is a whole nother topic in itself, which I will talk about, Christian schools versus public schools, like Christian private schools versus public. So when you try to go transfer and you go to the registrar or anybody in that institution, right, let me tell you what they're going to do. They're going to say, oh, this school is not accredited. That's all they're going to look at. They're going to say this school is not accredited. And you're going to be like, what? This school is not accredited. And you're going to be like, well, I'm aware. That's why I left. Yeah, I get it, but it's not accredited, which means we can't accept the credits from this institution. In most cases. Now, that's not my specialty. I would hope a specialty comes in and correct us. But definitely that's how it goes. When a school loses accreditation, it doesn't matter if it's financials, academics. Usually they're not accredited, and another school is not going to accept accreditation because that means what? When they don't have accreditation, the school was not doing what it was supposed to. It's bad that the student or parent or guardian has to suffer for that, but when they're not accredited, they could have been doing any and everything. They could have been teaching you stuff you wasn't supposed to learn. They could have been, since they know they wasn't accredited, they could have been passing you along just to keep you there because the school is accredited. Because the school is not accredited. So to get back on St. Augustine University, they needed $1 million, right, for the institution. And then they need $1 million to sue the accreditor. If you check in our description, we have like the Department of Education, and it is United States based. We have the United States Department of Education at the bottom. It's like, accreditor, find your accreditor based on where you're at. Like find your school accreditor. If you're looking at a particular school, it'll show you who they're accredited by. If you don't see who they're accredited by, then they're not accredited. And we put that in the description for you to help you save a lot of money. so that you'll have the resources to know and research the school that you're looking for. So they tried to get $1 million so they could sue their accreditor, which will let them hold their accreditation for longer, apparently. But the school, apparently, over the decision, they said they revoked this accreditation. They didn't say we were. They said at first we were going to wait, but they officially said we were revoking this accreditation. So apparently, the school is not accredited at the moment. It's not accredited, and it said such a suit will give St. Augustine's time to seek a new accreditor. So St. Augustine is trying to go seek a new accreditor. But it says likely the Transnational Association of Christian Colleges and Schools, that's likely going to be their new accreditor. But it said the university has incurred, what's that school? St. Augustine has a $47 million debt, including $10 million owed to the IRS. And they said right here, they enrolled just 53 students. So it sounds like St. Augustine, right now, it sounds like St. Augustine University is on the verge of being closed down. That's what it sounds like. They said they enrolled just 53 students. That is not good at all. 53 students is crazy. So St. Augustine is trying to sue their accreditor. They're not accredited no more. Per website, per Google, per sources, they saying they're not accredited. So please be mindful. Remember, check out the YouTube description that we have. It's in every live stream. Just check out what we put in the bottom about finding your school's accreditor. It's really important. It's really important for your parent, you, guardians to check that and follow that, because that's going to save you time and money. That's what we do here. We save you time and money. Do not go to a school that's not accredited. So like if you go to a Christian college, guys, so you have a Christian college, which is like, you know, a religious school, and then you have a public regular school, right? In this case, we will use St. Augustine University, and we're going to use UGA, right? Guys, Christian schools, depending on the accreditor, for one, first and foremost. So this Christian school had an accreditor that was based on the typical accreditor every southern school has. This is more southern right now. So like Georgia, Texas, Florida, they're all under this same popular Southern Association of Colleges and Schools Commission creditor. And I'll put in a live chat. So they're all based under that. So to do the fundamentals, if your college is based under a certain accreditor, right? Because I don't want to confuse it. If that if that Christian college, that Christian private college has the accreditor that is the same of any other public school, you could be good. Your credits could transfer. But it's like levels to it. Like you could transfer, be like, yeah, we'll accept their credits because they're accredited by the same accreditor, right? That's an easy no-brainer. But then again, the school is a what? Christian school, religious school. So they can have different type of classes that won't be accepted at your public college when you try to transfer. Why am I telling you this? Because a lot of sports players, for example, in my experience, I've seen them come from Christian schools, because Christian schools, not even Christian, just religious schools. And when they come from religious schools, they're coming with different type of credits. Like their history might be different from the school's or traditional public school history. So people have to keep that in mind. And when they're trying to bring their religious history to a public college, the public college is like, we can't accept this history. And they're like, why? Because this history is not a regular history. They examine it. They're like, look, they taught you this and this and that religious history. We teach United States history, for example, like U.S. history. So now guess what you have to do if you decide to transfer in many other your classes. Now you have to retake a lot of those classes, which means what? That's more money on you, and that's lost time on you. So instead of you being in your junior year, now you're going to be a freshman again. I had to let that sit for a little minute. Now you're going to be a freshman again. You was getting ready to be a junior in college. Now you're a freshman in college again because you transferred to a school that didn't accept your credits. It's really, y'all can see my eyes. It's really important. And so it's good that you know like the difference between transferring to these schools, because a lot of parents and guardians and students don't know this basic information, and it can really jeopardize your whole collegiate experience. Then you drop out because you got to restart. Then you're feeling like higher education was what? You feel like college was what? A scam. Now you're saying college is a scam. And now you're saying everybody don't need to go to college. Then you're ranting on. Then you got these, so-called higher education, so-called college YouTube channels who think they know what they're talking about when they don't know what they're talking about, because they had a terrible college experience when they didn't know the back end information. So don't fall victim to the same traditional things. And so right here, as we keep going, one of these community colleges, not really popular, but so academic cuts, a Portland community college. It's funny, I just talked about Portland. Facing a $15 million shortfall in its 2-year budget, the institution is eliminating Russian gerontology, I hope I said all right, gerontology, music, and sonic arts programs. It's also cutting classes and other programs like art. So they're cutting some programs. A lot of schools are cutting stuff, but for a community college facing this college is facing a $15 million shortfall. But this is a Portland community college. So remember, community college usually it's all 2 years, but this community college probably has on-campus housing. So if you got on-campus housing, I don't care if you are a 2-year or 4-year, if you got on-campus housing, your college is probably suffering a lot, because students are catching on with that part, which is good. Some quick hits is that, let me see, not that one. It was something, where is it? But before we get into the last one, it was something else. I was like, ooh, where is it? Yeah, there you go. I was like, why I keep passing it? Pennsylvania colleges threaten first tuition hike in 7 years. 7 years, guys. So if you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. Please. That's help push the information out. If you're here for 2 minutes, if you're here for 30 seconds, just like and subscribe, because that can help. Subscribe. I said subscribe. That can help kids all over the world. Personally, I feel like higher education is probably the same other places, just different meanings, different terms. But Pennsylvania colleges threatening the first tuition hike in 7 years. That's very good. They haven't raised tuition in 7 years. That's pretty much my whole collegiate career. It says the board for Pennsylvania, the board for Pennsylvania State System of Higher Education, which is, as I say, guys, every state has their own system for higher education, which is like the headquarters for the university system or community college system. Every state has their own state system. And so like in Georgia, because I'm in Georgia, guys, we have the university system of Georgia, and then we have the technical college system of Georgia. Pennsylvania has the Pennsylvania State System of Higher Education, which consists of boards, a president who runs it, the people who watch over the colleges in the state, essentially. Depending on how they got it set up, it can be set up a lot different. Their government structure, their governance structure. So they say right here, the board for Pennsylvania state system has voted to increase in-state undergraduate tuition by $139 per semester this year. If I'm reading that right, are you going to literally increase it by $139 per semester? Which means wherever, if your tuition per credit hour was $100 at your 2-year college, for example, it's now finna raise to 200, because 100 plus 139 is what, $239. So now they're about to raise your tuition by $139 per credit hour. That's how I'm looking at it. And so, wow. It said it's contingent on legislative budget negotiations. The system has requested, it says the system, which is the board, they have requested a 6.5% increase in state support in order to keep tuition frozen. Shout out to Pennsylvania for keeping the tuition froze or freeze for the past 7 years and actually making a way to help kids get an affordable education. So guys, I speak about, I haven't really been ranting. Everything I've been looking at has been based on information. And so right here, let's go to the article. That's what I didn't do. I haven't been clicking on the articles. And so I've been a real strong advocate in colleges doing tuition freezes. Why? Because schools have been raising tuition prices for not really justifiable reasons. They say they have been raising them for justifiable reasons, but they have not technically. They have been raising them for amenities needs, like universities more involved. Because why do I know that? Because community colleges or 2-year colleges have not been raising their prices. Because most 2-year colleges do not have a on-campus amenities, or a lot of them at least. Universities do. Universities have a lot of on-campus amenities that they have to pay for. So you are the students and parents and guardians are paying for them. Yes, there are wealthy people out there or students out here who might come across this channel who say, well, we don't have a problem paying for college. Great. But the average student, middle class, low income, or if you do have a little money, don't have the funds to be paying for unnecessary spikes in tuition prices. That's not ethical at all. So I've been saying that these universities should do a tuition freeze. There's no universal policy for tuition freezes. It's been much of my research in graduate school. There's no research, there's like no structure in higher education at all. And so we as the people, I would say parents, students, and guardians, or K through 12, like everybody's as bad as it sounds, everybody is a consumer. It doesn't matter what industry. So what I mean, like your parents could be a real estate broker and your dad could be a doctor, right? And they are consumers in higher education eyes. Like when they come, they're trying to get a good price to go to school. They are consumers to us. They're not high profile to us. They're more consumers. And we can charge them whatever they want because we know they're going to pay and they make the money. Is that right? No. But that's what universities are doing a lot. Like I said, some community colleges are raising prices, tuition prices, because they probably have on-campus amenities. But universities have been doing it a lot. So like we said, Pennsylvania has waited 7 years in order to do a tuition increase, which is very impressive by them. Like and subscribe, guys, because that's gonna help push the video out. And we appreciate you for stopping in for a minute, 30 seconds. Just go tell somebody what you learned so you can sound real brilliant to them. You know? And so it's just not changing. That's like our hook. Like we listen to music, this is like our hook. We do believe that, before we get into the article about Pennsylvania, we do believe that the future of higher education for parents and guardians and students, universities will be, really higher education is going to be too expensive for people, which is going to drive the value of higher education. Kind of like the internet times, I would say. Like you had people dropping out of school, but when internet was coming, people were going to college people are going to college to learn about the internet. Now, don't get me wrong, you have people dropping out of school like Mark Zuckerberg, or you have a person like Bill Gates who knows about internet or technology, right? They didn't go to college. And I know everybody has their perspective on that, right? They're like, they don't know anything, they just have people working. I get it. But thing about it, we're not like them as far as like, I don't have to go to college to learn this. Right, you don't. But you should, because what it's going to do, the value of an education is going up. And like somebody told me when I was at my 2-year college, they said by the time you get 25, 26, Henry, which I am about that age now, they said by the time you get that age, the value of an education is just going up. And it's not because you need the education for a job. It's just a way to like keep people from applying to jobs. Like we can't have everybody who doesn't have a degree applying to jobs with people who have a degree. It's gonna be too many people applying to a job. And I know it's something that people don't want to hear, but it's really, that's how it is. Like people, educators have a lot of information, guys. Educators trade off information for, like, their information is so invaluable, they can charge for their information and make 6 figures, if that makes sense. Literally, people write for a living in higher education institutions. I don't think people really think about that. Like these people research and write articles, scholarly articles, they get posted by the institution. Yeah, they could do it independently, but why not make 6 figures doing that from a college? Like people with PhDs, that's what they do for a living at colleges. They read, write different ways, and then they get paid for it. And if it doesn't get reviewed, it doesn't get read, that's not their problem. But the information is definitely credible and respected by other PhD people. So the value of education is going up. So what used to take a bachelor's degree is going to take a master's degree. Would it reach that PhD level? I don't think. But what used to be valued at associate's degree level is going to be valued at what? A bachelor's degree level. What jobs that was required for a master's would be a PhD level, and so on and so on. It's just to filter people out because they know a lot of people, it's going to be hard for people to go to school. It's going to be hard to go to college. University is not stopping raising. They're not going to stop raising tuition prices. I want to be clear on that. They're not going to stop. And nobody's going to be able to stop them unless you have a plan strategically as a parent, student, or guardian. You have to have a plan. And you could rely on the government, right? You see where that gets you. You could rely on the government. You could rely on the school to provide you a scholarship when you apply to the school based on your needs. But if you want to rely on the school, I didn't personally want to do that. I wanted to rely on me because it's hard for me to let myself down. You know, if I pay for it, unless they just take my money and say I didn't pay, at least I got my receipt. It's just very important, guys, to not try to depend on anybody else. Like, take advantage of the scholarships, take advantage of what the school is going to provide you at the end of the day, take advantage of your resources. The whole goal is for you to start at a 2-year and bridge to a 4-year, though. That's going to save you a lot of time and money, on top of other things we talk about that comes up while we're live streaming. And so I'm not trying to talk as if I know everything. I'm just talking from, like I said in the disclaimer, I'm just talking from my experience. Because I was fortunate enough, if you are new, I see people coming in and out. And so I was fortunate enough to get a debt-free degree, guys. But I didn't have a full ride academic scholarship. I didn't apply to a school and they provided me X, Y, and Z. Like, I was a regular Pell Grant / Hope student because I'm based in Georgia. It's important to know, like, people get those type of benefits, a Pell Grant. If you're in a different state, it's called something else. It's not called Hope. But people get Pell Grants and they blow it because they don't know how much their school costs. They just going to school. And your Pell Grant can really get you a debt-free degree. And if you don't have that, a scholarship can really get you a debt-free degree if you do it right. And so, apparently, one of my peers told me you can negotiate your scholarship. I learned that. You can negotiate your scholarship. So it's really important, like, as I keep learning from people, there's no one way to do this. You can do this numerous ways. One of my peers, it's called Interview with Ty Lewis, a 7-minute interview with Ty Lewis. He got a debt-free degree, guys. He did it another way, but and he's doing very well. and I met him at a conference. He's doing very well. He was able to. This is how much a college. This is how much a student loan. This is how much not having student loans can help you jumpstart your life. By him not having student loans and doing his approach to getting a debt-free degree, saving a lot of money in college and making money in college, he was able to buy. He posted about it, so it's not private. He was able to get duplexes, and so he was able to start real estate very early and invest very early at a very young age. Like, it's not normal for, like, we're still kids in people's eyes, right? Like my parents, right? I'm still a kid in their eyes, but to get a duplex or start in the stock market, real estate, stock market, whatever you're doing to jumpstart your life is incredible in today's time. And that's the difference of not being tied down by the student loan traditional pathway. So let's do what we was gonna talk about. Let's talk about Pennsylvania. Let's check. We got people coming in and out, in and out, in and out. Like and subscribe, like and subscribe. So I just want to say I appreciate y'all coming. I appreciate y'all coming. I appreciate it. So right here it says Pennsylvania state system of higher education boasts to increase tuition rates for the first time in 7 years. This is by Fox 43. Fox. Okay. So, right, we talked about the Board of Governors of Pennsylvania State System of Higher Education. Remember I said it's probably the board, which it was. This tuition increase for Pennsylvania is supposed to start for the 2025-2026 academic year. So schools are still doing last minute increases to tuition. And schools supposed to start in August, and they're still increasing tuition, guys, as we speak right now. Like, they're still increasing it. And school's about to start. So they said with the increase, they said this school. Oh wow, this don't even look like a real school right here. Hold on right quick, guys. Let me put it in the chat. This don't even look like a real school. So I put this school in the chat. It's called that Pashi University. So they said Pashi University tuition rates are now pretty much $4,000, and then it says and $8,000 for a full year. I don't know what they meant by that. You could tell the people when they write these articles or like the news report stuff, you could tell they don't know what they're writing, because it's like, huh? This is like their tuition rates are now 39. It says 4,000 and then 4,000 per semester and 8,000 for a full year. So I guess what they meant to say was, look, their tuition right now is about, this is what they meant to do. What are you doing, computer? So what they meant to say was their tuition per semester is pretty much rounded 4,000. They should just say 4,000. It's 4,000, and then times 2 for fall and spring is 8,000. So they're giving the example that the school now is going to be about $8,000 for a full year, which is very expensive. If you're new and you are listening, 8,000 for a school year is expensive, especially let alone just tuition. That's pretty expensive. I never paid more than $2,500 when I was going to college. I always stayed below $2,500 or right at $2,500 something or whatever like that. That's including my university and graduate school. So it says the increase comes after 7 consecutive years of frozen tuition, as we talked about. So this school, Pashi, I'm gonna call them Pashi. So Pashi said in a press release that even with the increased Pashi universities, what is that? They say university, so I'm assuming it's under. I'm assuming they're talking about Pennsylvania universities. That's what I'm assuming they're talking about. Pennsylvania universities. That's what they should just say, Pennsylvania universities. But Pennsylvania universities remain the most affordable four-year option in Pennsylvania. Let's do some research. Let's make sure we're not getting this wrong, because they did these acronyms like. Okay, so the Pennsylvania State So Pennsylvania state system of higher education. Why they put an A in it? I guess because Pennsylvania is always PA. She did PSSHE for the syllables. So the PASSHE, and then they terminology, that's what confused me. When I put that Pashe University, so that's the syllable for Pennsylvania State System of Higher Education. They should have did that, but they said university. Like they use the syllables as a university as if that's a college, when they should have said universities. They're changing the terminology. They got to keep it consistent. Especially for a writer, they should know that. They got to do better. So, okay. So they're saying Pennsylvania universities remain the most affordable four-year option in Pennsylvania, the organization said. Okay. It says the Pennsylvania pretty much state system of higher education. Their board of governors said they would roll back the rate if the state provides sufficient funding. Guys, this makes me feel good because we have been on topic. We have been accurate. Like and subscribe, man. Like and subscribe. It's on hundreds. That's like we've been talking about this. When the state, so this is why it's kind of good and kind of bad that the Trump administration want to give education back to the states as far as higher education. K through 12, but higher education, I can see why. But this is the downfall of it. Pennsylvania said we will keep our tuition frozen. Go back. Pennsylvania said we would keep our tuition frozen. We won't raise tuition if we get state funding. They said if we get state funding from the state, if we get state funding from the state, tuition prices can stay the same. But if you cut back on our tuition prices, then if the state if they cut back on tuition prices, but if the state doesn't fund them, guess what? Now they have to raise the tuition because they need to make up for the money they're not getting from the state. That makes sense? That makes sense because the state helps with a lot of money. Then when you got the federal giving you money too, that helps out a lot. And then when you have the sports, that's why I say it's not bad to have sports. I'm not totally against the sports. I'm just saying it's bad when they're making a lot of money from sports, but they're not allocating the money right. Like if you're making a lot of money from sports, you should say, look, just in case we don't have enough money, they should be like, just in case we don't have enough money from the state or from the federal level, we got enough money from sports to hold that off, and we got enough money to keep helping our sports teams out. But that's where it comes into managing the money. And that's something we talk about too among like professionals. Like we don't like that's happening. But if you give the power back to the states, then if your state doesn't support helping like universities or colleges, then your state, you could be in a lot of trouble as a student or parent or guardian, because then the tuition and fees are going to get raised, which makes is going to make college more expensive. It could be both, but it's a macroeconomic problem that could translate to a micro problem to you when it reaches you. Or it can start as a micro problem because you're not really paying attention. It's going to lead to a macroeconomic problem. And so it's not being talked about right now. But if President Trump and Linda, if the Trump administration, Department of Education actually follow through on their plan and actually return higher education, at least they say education, but higher education to the states, all I'm gonna say is I'm glad I graduated college in time and got out in time. That's all I can tell you and what you should brace for. And personally, I will hope people play this clip years from now, because if it happens, some states are going to be in trouble, and some states are really going to lose a lot of places are not going to be respected for their education. A lot of people are not going to go to college. And then that's when we start seeing colleges closing down. I'm not talking about colleges like we don't know about. I'm talking about like colleges we kind of know about. But the blue chip colleges are going to be around. But then you're going to have the other colleges who are like those region colleges, right? Like in Georgia, we got colleges that are literally in the middle of nowhere. And they will be on the verge of closing down because people are not finna go pay money and at a college that's charging them X, Y, and Z when I can go to what a blue chip college. I call blue chip colleges like you got the Ivies, you got Georgia Tech, UGA, schools that are really known for their academics or really known for their sports. They're not going nowhere. Those are going to be your blue chip colleges, just like in the stock market. Disclaimer, not a financial advisor. But that's going to be your blue chip colleges in there. And so your blue chip colleges are just going to have to expand and monopolize higher education. Like Georgia Tech does it already. Georgia Tech owns a lot of land, for example. Like people don't know that people don't know that they're putting money into Georgia Tech until they probably realize like Georgia Tech owns this whole strip of buildings right here and renting out the spaces to like companies like Starbucks, Chipotle, for example, or all these other businesses. They're renting it out to them because it provides their students easy access to go get food and stuff while they're on campus. You see? Or off campus, right? Right off the campus. So people got to really think about that. People got to this game gets deeper and more surprising as you keep staying with us. And so your state could be really in trouble especially if your state doesn't value higher education. So your pockets are going to get a lot thinner. I was about to say you probably get wider, but thinner. So it's going to force, like I said, it's going to force colleges who are bigger. It's going to force them to expand. Then they're going to have to get more dorms. Then they're going to have to get more meal plans. And then because they're going to have more students coming who are going to be trying to stay on campus because they got to come from all the way so-and-so. Like, remember, you could be in the state, but like me, I'm from Columbus, Georgia, for example. But if I want to go to college, like let's just say a region college that was near me, closed down. Now I'm forced to go to a school that is in like Georgia. Really, most of the popular schools in Georgia are in Atlanta. We'll just say that. I'll be forced to go to Atlanta. But guess what I had to do? It's harder to go to school in Atlanta. The cost of living, I had to get hopefully a good job. This is why you should start at a 2-year. Because the 2 years is going to provide you a way to get an affordable degree. And then you can take that 2-year degree and get a job. So then when you have to do what I got to do, I'm going to have to go to Atlanta now. Because my school's done closed down because the state not supporting it. You know, just giving you an example. So now I got to go up to Atlanta. Now I got to, I always say get roommates. Please don't stay on campus. I know it's going to be hard, but don't stay on campus. Don't stay on campus unless they giving you a good price on rooming and board. Try to if you can, try to say, look, can I pay rent? Like, can I do the room? Can I do my dorm as if I'm paying rent? Like, explore your options. There's not no one way to do this. But if it's me and then my near college closed down because the state not funding them and they don't have the money to stay around, I'm forced to go to the bigger school that's in Atlanta. I'm forced to go to a bigger school. But luckily I got a associate's degree, so I can get me a good state job, a government job hopefully, or a good job with this associate's degree so I can keep purchasing my tuition per semester. And hopefully you can still find an affordable university. I feel like they still will be there, but I feel like then again they'll be just barely making a cut. So hopefully we have a good governor who wants to put money into higher education and help fund the states. Is very important. That's why I went on a rant about it, because that's a big deal, guys. And Pennsylvania said they will literally freeze the tuition or not raise it if the state provides them the proper funding. So as we keep going, every dollar counts for our students. Right here, who they quoted? They said the organization said, or Dr. Cynthia said, every dollar counts for our students. If the state provides the funding we have requested, Pennsylvania universities can roll back tuition to help students with other essential expenses, said Dr. Cynthia Shapira, if I said it right. She's one of the chair members. She's one of the board governors. She said, "We hope this action gives those involved in state budget negotiations the time and flexibility they need to secure as much possible for our students while allowing students in our universities to prepare for the fall semester." Like I said, it's upcoming fall. They still making last minute decisions. They said Pennsylvania University said it has made progress stabilizing its finances, which is very good. Most places are like all over the place. They said in part due to increased state funding in recent years. So the state of Pennsylvania, like their state government, with their budget, they have been allocating money to the state of Pennsylvania, which is pretty good. I mean, because your boy, that is a state job sometimes. Depending how they bring you in, that's a state job. And you get a good state job, hey, Pennsylvania, y'all got me wondering, because, Georgia ain't trained us right over here in higher education a little bit. But in part due to increased state funding in recent years. They said continued improvement requires resources, especially with enrollment challenges across higher education. As I told you guys, as I say all the time, higher education is no secret. Anybody who really pay a little attention to higher education, enrollment is down. They're not enrolling as many students. Yes, they say, oh, we got more students going to college. That's not true. That's not true. Less people. Don't matter. Less people are going to college right now in this cycle. But one of my peers, they said college is getting to the point where only the wealthy is going to be going to college. That's what they said. That was their point of view on it. I said, okay. I said, man, okay. Because like I said before, guys, billionaire kids go to college. Go to college. Multi-billionaire kids, they kids are going to college. Billionaire kids, they are going to college. And so I understood where he was coming from on that. So let's keep going. Boom, boom, boom. They said the tuition plan balances student affordability with the long-term financial health of the university system, blah, blah, blah. They said, we know tuition decisions have a real-world impact on our students, said Pennsylvania Chancellor Christopher Fiorentino, I think that's how you say that. Hold on, guys. I'm going to post his name in here in the chat for us. He's the chancellor. Very important person. First time I don't know, but he said we know that. So, guys, I tell people that, like, when they raise tuition, that's going to hurt a lot of students. A lot of times we know, like, college students, it's not just at big colleges, guys. I remember I was interviewing at this private college. It was a very expensive private college. I hope they are doing well. Personally, they seem like good people from the interview when I did interview with them. But they said they had students who were living in their car, and it's not just there. It's a lot of big schools, usually like universities. Like these, like kids are really, I knew people who were homeless in college when I was at my 2-year, but they are literally living in their cars. Based on how expensive college is. Some prevail, some don't, but it's a real deal. And so it's good to have people like in Pennsylvania who are really thinking about that, because I talk to people, because I'm military, I talk to people military who are from the Pennsylvania area who say like, I came here just to, get away, but I plan on going to school back in Pennsylvania, because I'm assuming because it's affordable. Like they could have easily stayed, because of course I'm in Georgia. They could have easily stayed in Georgia and just went to school, but they decided to go back up. So it's good that they trying to look out for them. And I believe them, because why do I believe Pennsylvania and their university system? I believe them, or their state system. I believe them because they haven't raised the tuition in 7 years. And a lot of other states could have followed that approach. I know Texas tried to do a shout out to their governor. I know he did a tuition freeze. I don't think it's still there no more. I think it's back to rising because I think they put a request in to raise it by like 6% as well. But it shows in their actually doing it. A lot of times in higher education, guys, we talked about it too in class. They say we strive for this or we hope to do this. The future it is like everything. If you go to a college graduation, a college orientation, they're going to tell you what we plan on doing or hope to do. We plan on doing what we hope to do, and it never really happens because you're only there for 4 to 5 years. And so by the time you leave, you say, you know something? They didn't do nothing they said they was going to do. You know? They didn't do nothing they said they was going to do. And that's a lot of times in college. That's why I don't really believe in anything a higher education, a traditional higher education person. They can't say nothing to me because everything they say they're doing, it doesn't help none. Like, I have more people, and these people served on SGA committees at the college. I have more people from colleges who served on SGA behind closed doors because, you know, some people are not in fortunate positions to go to battle with higher education. They're like, nah, I might want to work there, so I can't really be talking like you here. They think I'm talking crazy. I said, I'm not talking crazy. I'm talking honest, I think. And so they just don't do what they need to do. Then they take credit for one thing that took them 10 years to do in higher education. It's like, what are you doing? It took you 10 years to do that. 10 years. I was probably in elementary school when you did that. 10 years ago, 10 years ago, I was 16. And I can tell you now, 10 years ago to now, nothing has changed. It's just tuition. Tuition got more expensive. We're getting a little smarter. And they're still using what? They're still using the Higher Education Act from 1965 that is not working. So that's the truth. And that's the realness of it. So this is why I tell you to start at a 2-year and go to a 4-year. And they can either adapt or they can get left behind as well. Because nobody is bigger than the people. People need to remember that. They're not bigger than you. You have a choice to go to college and get an affordable education. And that's hope. That's a real hope. That's a real, like, you know, education would change your life. I'm telling you, like, from a person who was special education, who couldn't really read that much and went to college and got really more intelligent and got smarter. Like, literally, I know what it feels like to look at something and not know what it means, to looking at something, having an idea of what it means and not feeling like it's a wrong or right. And so that's what college did for me. It gave me like a better perspective of being like, you're not never wrong or right. You're going in the right direction. There's never no wrong way to do anything. Shout out to my colleges. I went to a 2-year, then I went to a 4-year, and now I'm in graduate school. Shout out to them. You know, when they pay me, when they give me like some paid advertisements, so, you know, maybe I'll shout them out a little more by name. But if you pay close attention, you probably can see them. Well, not them. I work there, but if you pay attention, I wear them. I wear all my schools except for one of them in graduate school. Me and my girlfriend, we might do that today. Actually, we might do that today. We need some merch. We don't got no graduate school merch. We're both at the same graduate school. We do not have this. We do not have graduate merch. Y'all just made me think about that. I do not. I think I might just go splurge and get some so I could wear it tomorrow on the live screen. So and that's Pennsylvania, guys. What we at right now? What we at? We been talking. What we at? Oh, we had 1 hour and 12 minutes. Shout out to everybody that came in for a little bit. G, I didn't know you. Oh, my bad, G. G, how long when you did that? What's good, G? We got our #1 person in here, G. Shout out to G. I didn't even know G. G, you just got in here? I feel bad. I was talking. I feel so bad. Please tell me you just got in here. Please tell me you just got in here, G. We had about 28 people come in. They didn't say nothing, but hey, I love it though. I love it. That means I'm talking about something that at least get your attention. I love it. Even if you stop for a little bit. So let's go to another story. I feel like I could talk about the last segment now because that's going to lead into our 2-hour mark a little bit. Because because you know we do a review of a school at the end. So I really don't want to hold y'all too long. We got like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We got like 4 days. We got like 4 days of this week to go. So ain't no reason to go too hard on Monday, right? Yeah, just got here. Oh, okay. How you been? Y'all been pretty good, G. I've been pretty good, man. Pretty good. How your weekend was? As we waiting on G. My weekend was pretty good too. It was pretty good. It was a little crazy. I had a pretty good weekend. A little crazy. Pretty good. But what I do this weekend? I read some companies that potentially I want to invest in. Me and my peers, we think we want to press the green light on a company. Of course, you know I'm not gonna say the company on the live stream. Don't want nobody to get the wrong idea. Like, this is an investment channel. Busy. That's good to hear. You had to work over the weekend, G? Was your business? Do you work on weekends for your business? I understand when it's your business. Sometimes you got to work, or do you take off on weekends? Before we talk about our last one, guys, which is University of Virginia needs help. University of Virginia needs help. They need help. All right, wait on my guy G. So, guys, I talked about the University of Virginia before. UVA, not only. And G said right here, I always have to work, LOL, but I'm building something else now as well. Dang. That's what we love to hear right there. G be working. I always have to work, LOL, but I'm building something else right now as well. That's nice. Y'all investing in pools now? In pools? No, not in pools. Just bouncing ideas off of each other. The company is a potential growth stock. It has a lot of upside, I feel. I had pulled some articles. So, guys, this is what I like about college. So I pulled some articles out of my college schoolhouse related to this industry, and went and seen the research and data. Now, people say, oh, we can do that too online, but this is by scholarly people like who study at schools like, see, G went to Columbia. And so these are people who study at Columbia. These people study at big schools, Research One schools. So their information is more credible than an opinionated opinion. Not saying that these people who are giving their opinionated biased approach, but they have to pay for that information too. And then sometimes they're just giving you their own opinion. These people are backing it up with stats, data, and leading to like what the projection of the future could be. But that's the power of getting your information out the college schoolhouse. That's the power of being what? An alumni and going to college, because I can get this information for life. And I don't have to go pay these other, in some cases, sometimes I don't have to go pay these other people who, are, what am I looking for? Who have a business and charging me information. I can go get it for free from my college. And that has helped me a lot. That helped me a lot when I was researching AI, artificial intelligence. That helped me a lot. And so G right here said, I mean, you guys are pulling your... No, but that's a good idea. That's a good idea though, G. Y'all do that often? Y'all do that often, G? You and your peers pull money together and then invest in something, and then if it does well, y'all make a higher return on it. That's a great idea. I have a friend whose catchphrase is "do your homework." Do your homework. Yeah, you gotta do your homework. You gotta do your homework, man. And sometimes homework don't even take that long. Homework might take about 2 hours sometimes, depending if you catch it and understand it fast. It took me all day though. It took me all weekend, I would say, to realize how valuable it is. But yeah, G, I wanted to know that. Do you pull money together with your peers and invest in something just, for a quick profit, not quick profit, but for a long-term profit, and then y'all split it in how many, in the percentages of how many of you all it is? That's a great thing. G said that depends on what it is. We pulled our money in college to start businesses and stuff. That's different, man. Dang, man. I'm gonna bring that idea. I'm gonna bring that idea to my brother. I'm gonna bring it to him. When everyone had change. Yeah. and nothing else. Yeah, I felt that G. Like, oh, nobody had responsibilities really. Da da da. I felt that. I felt that. Hey man, it's good talking to you, G. I could just tell. You know certain things. I could tell, man. I could just tell. Dang, it's good. All right, let's talk about University of Virginia. Appreciate that, G. We've been cooking though. We've been cooking. So remember, guys, I was talking about the University of Virginia president, James E. Ryan. He recently resigned because of DEI efforts. And so he resigned due to, yeah, DEI efforts. And some people are speculating that I don't know. I'm not even going to say the speculation because speculation is a speculation, which is not credible. But what I will say is that, look, James E. Ryan, he had to go because he was still doing DEI. He was still pushing it. He was still not, he did not take it out. But to get him out, to give you some context of how political higher education is, to get him out, it took two university alumni who went to the University of Virginia, UVA, and they are heavily Trump supporters. And so they played a role in, and they got government jobs and stuff like that. Like they got some power, but it played a role in getting him out. So what that means is when you have a Trump loyalist around, like, because everybody was surprised, like, how did University of Virginia come up? Like, last thing they know, he's getting into the Ivies. He's attacking the Ivies, right? The Trump administration / Department of Education. But if they are loyal to Trump, they will report it in. And G says always politics. It's always. And so, but Trump loyalists are at like different colleges, different places, right? And so if there's something that, if you're not following Trump's protocol, they're going to report it back to him or to the Department of Education. It's going to get back to him. And so that's how he ended up getting the boot. Because some people are still following, like, we're not listening, we're going to do our own thing, and blah, blah, blah. And, like, okay, go do your own thing. You're not going to follow not going to follow the man? Okay. So, excuse me. And this is what it's leading to with the University of Virginia. It's a lot more we got to go through. But like I said, I like to interact with my chat, especially when I got people who are listening and they know this is a real change happening. I was just about to say that. He said, G said he attacks anything that does not kiss the ring, and he can attack. I was just gonna say that if you ain't kissing the ring, you gonna have to, So yes, exactly what G said. I was just gonna say, you ain't kissing that ring, you are done. So, but that's good. That's good trouble. John Lewis, that's good trouble. That president got in some good trouble. He's gonna get another job, but he'll be respected in most places. So, he just won't be able to go to some Republican schools. Yes, some colleges are Republican, guys, and some colleges are Democratic. I didn't find that out until being in graduate school. Guys, when I say I learned a lot in graduate school, shout out to my graduate school, bro. Shout out to Georgia State Higher Education Administration Graduate Program. It's an MIS program. Shout out to them because they have some very good topics, some very good research that I learned in that schoolhouse that I was like, now, in that career field, people think they know stuff in higher education, but a lot of people realize they don't know that they're really green in that industry. If you don't know, knowledge is power in that industry. If you don't know certain things, you are essentially green. Like, you're green. And they will take advantage of you badly. So, it says in the past 6 months, the University of Virginia's president, provost, and three of the top officials in its health system have resigned. So, Virginia president, the provost, and 3 top officials in health at the University of Virginia have resigned or announced their intentions to do so. At a time when higher ed politics are fierce and pressure on universities is intense. The leadership of one of the nation's most prominent public institution is effectively in suspended animation. I don't know what that last part meant, but yes, politics is fierce right now in universities. A lot of presidents are keeping their heads down. Execs are keeping their heads down. They're not trying to speak on things unless necessary. They're trying to change names on DEI if they do have some DEI programs they want to keep. That's why it's like G said, you either kiss the ring or you gotta. They're trying to duck so they can protect the students. And so unconnected controversies have controversies. I hope I said it right. Unconnected controversies have contributed to the turnover problem. They says the president of University of Virginia, Ryan, we're going to call him Ryan from now on. Ryan departure came on the heels of the health system chief executive resigning in February. And then the physicians have complained about a broken culture. And then they said if personnel is policy, the direction of the University of Virginia is a big question right now. Per Chronicle Higher Education, this is all per Chronicle Higher Education. And they said right here, news broke last week that the Dean of School of Medicine and the chief executive of the flagship hospital are both leaving other jobs. So, okay. And then the University of Virginia has an acting president now, known as an intern president. They said, right, whoever the board of visitors, the board pretty much selects. But they said right here, the interim president will send a signal to faculty about how much conservative politics are driving decisions. And so the faculty senate have expressed no confidence in the board of visitors in the senate's view, failing to protect the university from outside interference, yeah. And so, yeah, guys, and the reason they have to let the faculty know, because you got some faculty who don't care about politics at all. But they're just doing their job, teaching, instructing students, right? But faculty has to be aware. And faculty, you'll be surprised, they just be like, all this stuff going on, it's crazy, right? Yeah, it's crazy. We just want to instruct the students and right? And so the faculty, they are blindly just walking, which is dangerous because they could lose their job at any moment. When I say no job is safe, no job is safe. Even when I start my new job, I ain't really safe, so you gotta really be mindful and make sure you're taking necessary actions to make sure you're good. And so the politics of the moment are inescapable for University of Virginia, which is now particularly vulnerable to outside forces. Exactly. They said conservative alumni who stoked the campaign and oust Ryan, as we said before, have found a powerful and willing ally in the Trump administration. So they said, which has stripped federal money from universities that won't bend to its demands. As I said, as G said, when you don't kiss the ring and you don't cooperate, we're going to take away your federal money. And then where it gets even harder, right, is that all right, as we said before, if you lose federal money, now if Trump is in cahoots or Department of Education is in cahoots with the state, then you're going to lose what? State money. Then when you don't got the federal, state money, you're going to what? You're forced to rise the tuition. It's common sense, guys. It's not supposed to be complicated. It's really simple. Then they're going to be forced to raise tuition on you as a parent or student. If you're a lawyer, doctor, K-12 teacher, you are a consumer. You got to send your child to a school, to one of these universities, because 9 times out of 10, in this current day and age, I'm being realistic. I'm not being unrealistic. In this current day and age, parents are sending their kids who got these jobs to universities. So you need to be aware that it's finna get more expensive. Just like that. Let me take my glasses off, guys. It's about that time. So you need to be mindful of that. You need to be mindful. This is real serious business. And so they said right-leaning Virginia stakeholders are eager to see the board appoint a new president before November. Yeah, Virginia got stakeholders. They have people who invest in colleges. So for all my people out there who have a lot of multi-million dollars, you probably should look investing in some colleges, unless you already do. You should look investing in some colleges. Get some equity in the college, you know, see if your revenue can go up. So Virginia stakeholders are eager to see the board appoint a new president before November, when the governorship could flip to a Democrat and the politics of the board might change. I will call him back. He probably gonna get me. He's gonna get me, and I'm live streaming. That was my brother calling. He's gonna get me. So right here they say the bigger picture about it all is like what happens with Ryan feels like 2012. They say a 2012 twist with a twist. They said what happened with Ryan feels like a 2012 with a twist. So what happened in 2012, I'm not mistaken. Okay. So I need to make a hurry up. Where is it? They said something happened in 2012. Oh, there you go. No, they said something happened in 2012 with the old president, if I'm not mistaken. But we'll keep going. They said what happened with Ryan feels like 2012 with a twist, reflecting on how much higher ed in the country have changed. Cause yeah, it was a lady named, probably, maybe not say lady. It was Sullivan, who got ousted around that time in a similar situation. And then they said Ryan's forced resignation is of a more potent sort. He effectively surrendered to emboldening federal actors who are bent on reshaping higher education nationwide. But unlike 2012, no one expects Ryan to ascend to historic rotunda and make heroes return to presidency. Yeah, they said some. Yeah, I read that, guys, but that's what they said. Okay, so they don't expect him to return to presidency. They made that sound really like rotunda, you know. But update: due to production error, a comment from University of Virginia spokesperson was initially not included above. It has been added. So pretty much, it's nothing new that presidents get kidded. They get kicked out. They get booted because of politics. This happened like a couple of years ago with the president of Harvard, and many more. Just for example, it's not nothing new. I think it's more of they need to learn how to be strategic about it. But how can you be strategic when they are getting you for everything that you're? If you don't do something, they're gonna get you. If you do something, they gonna get you. So it's like, what do you do as a university president? Shoot, I step down. I'll put my 2 weeks notice in before they even get to me and get rid of me. I'll say I just had to do my 2 weeks notice. Some came up. And then right here it says, G said they do their, I didn't even see this. G said they do their own thing because there's no mandate. And then G said, looks like YouTube don't like some of my comments, LOL. I think so. I be thinking I guess I be look. And then I be saying, why you say that, G? I think sometimes I be seeing you retract them, but I thought you was taking them away. I guess YouTube takes them away. And then G said 99% of the time it's politics. And G said right here, it's almost all or nothing. So they are put into an impossible situation. Exactly. And we by at that time, because I had to help my brother with something. So we got to review a college. Most of the time, schools like Harvard or Columbia just demote them with the same pay. Yeah, that's good. Because I'll be wondering, I'll be like, dang, they just lost everything that quick. So that's good to know that. They'll just demote them with the same pay. At least that's what happened with Harvard's president, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know what they did with that president. I don't know what happened to them. Actually, I haven't heard anything since then. I have not. Let's do it. Ooh, all right. So we about to do our last one. I don't say it because I got to keep that protected, and I don't want no other college stealing that idea. But we in our last one. We're gonna do Wichita State University. Only reason I know about Wichita State, guys. Let me tell you why I know about Wichita State. Only reason I know about Wichita State is because they went on a March Madness run when I was in high school one time, and I was like, "Dang, Wichita!" That's the only reason I knew about this school. Only reason. And it says right here they're known for aerospace engineering, innovation campus, and strong research and applied sciences. They're not known for nothing. And then I have a brother who goes there. That's dope. That's dope because we definitely finna review his school. We are definitely finna review his school. And so it's funny. Like that's the only reason. That's the only reason I know about Wichita. Only reason. One thing I can say is good marketing. When they do those Cinderella runs or everybody has the spotlight on them, great marketing. Can't even get mad at it. Great marketing. And then right here, we gotta go to Google. What the? Wow, they didn't even pop up. No, you're not, G. And sell it to the highest bidder. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. And then so they said Wichita State University is a public research university in Wichita, Kansas. Is governed by the Kansas Board of Regents, and yeah, this is the Wichita State University, black and yellow. So yeah, I don't know none of these people. Oh, that's the Bit Show. So apparently they say the Bit Show, the wrestler, they say he went to this school. I know him. I used to watch him. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. I did watch wrestling. Wrestling was my stuff. That's why I know about Linda and the McMahons and Triple H and them. It's funny seeing them in a courthouse because I seen them on stage cracking beers and sledgehammers, and it's just funny. It's like a full circle moment, and they're in, like, is that not funny to people? That's hilarious to me. I'm sorry, like it's like y'all playing Schoolhouse. Like that's just me roasting a little bit though. So, all right. So we're gonna do Wichita State University, and then I'm gonna let y'all go, man. We got a smooth Monday. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I appreciate that, and I love that. I promise you I do. And then already working on the site now. I'm glad to know you can build websites. I'm glad to know you can build websites. I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna find you, G. You're giving me clues every time. So, right here, Wichita State, they have a 51% graduation rate. That is very low. That's below the midpoint. Their midpoint is 58%. And yeah, that's not good. 51%. That's not good. That's terrible. That's an F. The average annual cost at Wichita State is about $14,000. Let's fact check that. I already got my calculator up. Right here, they said for 2024 to 2025, which is last year's. I don't see 2025 to 2026. As I said, schools are still updating their tuition. It's like very late this year, due to ongoing stuff that's going on. But one thing I say about Wichita State, they have room and board up here, which I guess factors into the meal plan. Yeah. So it's all in one spot. But we focusing on the tuition first and foremost. So Kansas, for a Kansas resident, if you're a non-resident, of course, out of state, it's gonna be a lot more money. But for a resident, it's $250 per credit hour, $251 per credit hour to be exact. So what that means, you're looking at pretty much about $4,000 per semester, which is $8,000 per year, rounded. But if you include, because the sticker price is 14, but I think the sticker price includes meal plans and dorms. So if you add, so you got, if we do, should we do? No, we're gonna do the semester. We're gonna do the year, because they got it already calculated. If we do year, that's like $8,000 for the year, plus 11 grand, depending on which room and board you pick, is pretty much 12 grand. So what's 8 plus 12? 8 plus 12 is 20,000. You're looking at 20,000 per year if you go to Wichita. All their room and boards are about $12,000. So 20,000 times 4, if you get out in 4 years, you're looking at 80 grand for 4 years of school. And Wichita so far doesn't seem like it's worth 80 grand so far. So far. Could be wrong. So far. And let's keep going. Not the fact they charging you. That's pretty good though. Pricing is more crazy at other schools in Georgia. Parking is only $75. Shout out to them on that. That's a positive right there. So the sticker price does not match the annual price on the U.S. Department of Education, first and foremost. But remember, the tuition is $8,000 a year. Your purchasing power, that could go up. But my purchasing power was definitely, like I said, $2,500 or less, because I know I can save that up before the semester ends. So let's go. And I prefer semester over quarter systems. I do feel like there should be a universal policy. Remember, you heard me say that first. I think there should be a universal policy that all schools are semester based and not quarter based. Yeah, that's just me though. That's just me. And then they say the potential earnings you can make after leaving Wichita, you can make about 52 grand. Now remember, you're paying about 80 grand. Now if you don't have no debt, then that's pretty good, I guess. But if you reckon up this debt, and 52 grand is not good to pay back on 80 grand on the low end. 80 grand on the low end. Remember that, because most people don't graduate in 4 years of college. It takes them 5 or 6. They and the students say that in their graduation speech. Normally it's supposed to take us 4 years to graduate college, but it takes us 6 sometimes. So G said, the only reason I don't mind quarters is because you can take shorter, more niche classes. Yeah, you can. And I heard too that people say you can knock them out faster too. When you do quarter systems, you can knock out classes a lot faster. I heard that too. Maybe it's just me. It's me being a little not fully understanding of it, because I've been on semesters my whole collegiate career. So, Columbia is semester based, but it offers quarter classes. Yeah, like I definitely took some quarter classes too at my 2-year for sure. Like I would take one that lasts from August to October. They call it mini semesters, and I knocked out some classes that way. And so, like I said, graduation rate is 51%. Students who return after their first year at Wichita, this is not good, 67%. Guys, they are getting straight Fs at Wichita right now. They are getting straight Fs after their first year. It's crazy. And so, did we just do this one? No, the average debt you're going to get for a student, $20,500. That's like the average debt you're going to get after going here. Makes a little sense, right? Because we said you're looking to pay 20 grand a year. So your last year, you might come up short and just have to take out 20 grand your last year. That's them. That's not me. That's them. This is per U.S. Department of Education. And then students receiving federal loans is 42%. That's almost half of their students. Guys. And remember the new rule. They're not letting you take out federal loans if your program is not providing a return on investment. The Department of Education is not going to give you a federal loan. So keep that in mind when you're choosing your program in school. And G said real quick, Dartmouth is the only Ivy that actually does quarters. Fun fact. That is a fun fact. I didn't know that. So Dartmouth College, guys, have you ever heard of that? Which was actually founded as a Native American school first and foremost, Dartmouth. I learned that. Dartmouth actually offers quarters. Quarter is it called? Quarter semesters? No, just quarter classes, like quarter-based classes. And then let's get back on it. And then he said Stanford does too. That's what G told us. Did not know that. So as we keep going, so if you go to Wichita, you have a 74% chance of making more than a high school graduate. That's pretty low. So they got C's and F's. The the salary, 10 years after being removed from the institution. If you are a financial aid student, it's based on financial aid students. But if you are 10 years removed, you could possibly make $52,000 a year. After being 10 years removed, you can make about 52, over 52, or you can make under 52. It's not bad. It's not bad. So, and then the test scores, guys, remember, Wichita State University has an acceptance rate of 95%, which is good. So you have an easy chance of getting in. They don't require the SAT or ACT testing. Why? You know me, I'm always going to say this. Why? Because they need students to go to college. They need students to go to college. So they don't want to say you need a SAT or ACT score, especially when other schools are saying, look, you don't need it, come to us. It's all about competitive business. So based on this, guys, I'm going to give Wichita State University F. Why? Because if I was going to a 2-year and transferring to Wichita State University, I would have to pay about $4,000 per semester, which is $8,000 a year. And then if I'm transferring there, I expect to get a good return on investment. Like if they said 52,000 a year, but they're only charging like $5,000 a year, so that's like 2,500 per semester. Then I'm like, okay, look, this is pretty good. It's a good setup right here. I can with my own money, I'll be good. But even if you're a Pell Grant student, right? If you're a Pell Grant student, your Pell Grant is not gonna cover all of that per semester. It'll cover most. So let's bump them up to a D. Just a D. Let's bump them up to a D a little bit. It could, but then you'll have to have scholarships. You're gonna have to have some other aid to make sure you're good for the next 2 years. So let's bump them up to a D. But like I said, you're gonna need some aid a little bit, especially if you're like, I can't stay on campus, Henry. I can't stay off campus. I gotta stay on campus. That's why they fall into a D with the on-campus housing. But they could get bumped up. If Wichita want to reach out to us, they could get bumped up. Like I said, $8,000 is not that bad, and it also depends on the cost of living. So if they can vouch on cost of living, like they pay their people right, the people make this type of salaries out there in Kansas. I haven't heard good things. I got people who live in Kansas, but I haven't heard much good about Kansas, about like pay wise and stuff. So but I haven't heard too many complaints at the same time. So Wichita, they're a D. Let's get them a D, because their prices is still $8,000 in tuition. So I guess they could get a D. And then we'll see what G said before we leave. G said that's it. They want students, and Wichita is one of those catch-all schools for students in Wichita. You know what I'm saying? I do. So that's all we got for this live stream. I'm not gonna hold you hostage. I appreciate everybody stepping in. Like I said, if you stepped in for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 1 minute, 30 seconds, 15 seconds, and you clip me and you say, look, this guy don't know what he's talking about, I appreciate it. All advertisement is not bad advertisement, because that just gives me time to explain why I said something and some publicity, And then we'll be back tomorrow. And nice chatting with you too, G. Always good chatting with G, my number one leading the charge. And so, see you all tomorrow. Peace, chicken grease.